but as I was listening to the folks from work speaking, as I recall, the job advertisements that traditionally were required for the newspaper, which are now as part of the portal, provided a significant amount of funds over the years to keep the journalistic enterprise alive. With those funds gone, in your view, is there a risk that we won't have an external independent media entity able to self-fund itself?
Well, it's not gone. There's no prohibition against advertising in any media jobs. It's just that the mandatory requirement is that you must do so on this portal. I do hope that it wasn't principally advertisements for jobs that kept media houses going. I mean, the great deal of challenges to the printed media. I think we're all aware of that, and there are many who don't believe it'll be around in a few more years. I'm not that I'm an expert at that at all, but perhaps because I love print, I tend to have a more optimistic view that it will survive, albeit with significant changes. We see what's happened at the campus, but that's the same, right across the developed world. But I really do hope that it wasn't sheer reliance on job advertisements that have kept media houses operating all these years.
That said, we've already seen the demise of, for example, KMAN 27. So, and I'm not casting judgment necessarily. My question is really just around a concern that independent media in a market this size clearly struggles, and that was a big chunk of their revenue. And I can't see most companies, unless they're just wonderful human beings, spending money when they don't have to for something. So I just was curious about your thoughts about that. Based on the premise that having media is important in the country just to keep us all accountable.
Yes, and of course, any media that is reliant on government to survive is really not independent media. So I think we got to bear that in mind. I mean, KMAN 27 survived, quite frankly, for years because they just didn't pay the regulatory fees and so forth that they were required to pay. I think that a way has to be found. I mean, of course, the easy thing is for say government step in and subsidize these places, but then of course you lose your independence, or at least the perception is that you lose your independence. So I think that KMAN is big enough, wealthy enough now to support media. I just think more innovative means have to be found to ensure that it can be funded by consumers. I don't think that's something that government can fix without, of course, it being perceived that the government is controlling the media.